This rice is tea-aceless. Nothing! You useless wife!
I'm sorry. Please, I'm sorry.
Listen, let me tell you about a man named Marcus. Big Marcus. Strong Marcus. The kind of man who walked through town like he owned every brick in every building. But by the time I finish this story, you'll be laughing, because this same Marcus who made everyone tremble would soon become the most controlled husband in the entire neighborhood. But wait, I'm jumping ahead. Let me start from the beginning. Marcus married his first wife, Grace, when he was 27 years old. On their wedding day, everybody cheered and celebrated. Marcus grinned like he'd won the jackpot. Grace was gorgeous, quiet, and well-mannered. Her family raised her right. She could cook, she could organize a home, and she never disrespected anyone. Marcus's chest swelled with pride. Finally, he thought, a woman who would never question him. But that grin on Marcus's face. It vanished faster than free pizza at a college party. One evening, Grace served him dinner. The steak was perfectly cooked. The vegetables were seasoned just right. Everything looked delicious. But Marcus tasted it, and his face twisted like he'd bitten into rotten fruit. Grace, this steak is overcooked. Overcooked like leather. Are you trying to break my teeth? Do I look like a man who chews shoe leather? Poor Grace's hands started trembling. I'm sorry, honey. Let me make you another one right now. Another one? You should have done it right the first time. Do I look like I have time to wait? Am I some kind of joke to you? Now let me tell you something. The steak was not overcooked at all. It was medium rare, exactly how most people like it. But Marcus loved to create problems where none existed. If the food was too hot, he'd complain. Too cold, he'd complain. Just perfect, he'd still find something wrong. Maybe the plate was chipped. Maybe she used the wrong fork. Maybe the sun wasn't shining the way he liked. Anything. Everything. That night he shoved Grace against the wall for the first time, just like that. Her crime? A perfectly good steak that wasn't cooked exactly to his impossible standards. Grace cried silently in the bathroom while Marcus ate his dinner and burped loudly, completely satisfied with himself. This became the rhythm of their marriage. Marcus would find a reason, any reason, to hurt her. The neighbors heard Grace's sobs at night, but they looked the other way. It's between husband and wife. We can't get involved in people's marriages. The women in the building would see Grace at the laundromat with bruises on her wrists, and they would shake their heads and whisper, but nobody did anything. Not her family, not the landlord, nobody. They all believed that what happened behind closed doors should stay behind closed doors. For 5 long years, Grace suffered. She became thin as a rail. Her eyes lost their sparkle. She stopped smiling. She stopped talking. She just existed, moving through life like a shadow. Every morning she woke up, cooked, cleaned, and prayed that maybe today Marcus would be in a decent mood. But decent moods were rare in Marcus's apartment. Then one night, after Marcus had hurt her particularly badly, Grace took pills and never woke up. Just like that. Her body gave up, but really, her spirit had given up long ago. The paramedics came, shook their heads sadly. The doctor said she'd lost the will to live. Now you'd think Marcus would feel guilty, right? Wrong. This man cried at the funeral like he'd lost the love of his life, tears streaming down his face like a waterfall. Academy Award-winning performance, I'm telling you. The neighbors who didn't know the truth felt sorry for him. Poor Marcus. He loved his wife so much. If only they knew. Marcus buried Grace and went through the motions of mourning, but in his mind he was already planning. He waited exactly 4 months. Then he started looking for wife number 2. This time, he told himself, he'd be smarter. He'd find a woman from far away, someone who hadn't heard the stories about Grace. He connected with someone online from across the country, and that's where he found Lucia. 24 years old with her warm smile and gentle voice. She was from a small town. Looked innocent with eyes that stayed down when men spoke to her. Perfect, Marcus thought. This one won't give me any trouble. Lucia's father was a struggling mechanic who was thrilled to see his daughter marry someone with a stable job. "My daughter is very obedient," he told Marcus proudly. "She never argues, never talks back. She'll make you an excellent wife." Marcus smiled. Excellent, he thought. Another quiet one. The wedding was small and simple. Lucia moved into Marcus's apartment with her few belongings. And from day one, she was the perfect wife. She woke up at dawn to make breakfast. The apartment was always spotless. His clothes were always washed and pressed. When he spoke, she listened with her head lowered. When he yelled, she flinched. When he raised his hand as if to strike, she cowered and trembled. Marcus was extremely pleased with himself. Finally, a wife who understood her place. He would walk around the neighborhood, chest puffed out, telling other men, "You see, the secret is establishing authority from day one. Let them know who runs the household. My new wife doesn't even breathe too loud without checking with me first." The other men would nod and chuckle, some jealous of how submissive Lucia seemed. 6 months passed like this. Marcus grew more and more comfortable. He became careless. He started treating Lucia the way he'd treated Grace, assuming she'd just accept it. He yelled at her. He threw food if it wasn't exactly what he wanted. He started raising his hand threateningly, but Lucia never cried. She just watched him with those calm, steady eyes. What Marcus didn't know was that Lucia was not what she appeared to be. You see, Lucia had done her research before agreeing to marry Marcus. She'd asked questions. She'd actually flown to Marcus's city before the wedding and talked to people in his building, at his gym, at the local stores. She heard every single story about Grace, how she suffered, how she died, everything. Lucia could have refused the marriage, but she didn't. Instead, she made a plan. She would marry this cruel man and teach him a lesson he would never, ever forget. Her obedience was an act. Her fear was fake. All those months she was studying him like a scientist observing a specimen, learning his patterns, his weaknesses, his massive ego, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. That moment came on a Thursday morning, 6 months after the wedding. Marcus woke up that morning expecting his breakfast on the table as usual. But when he walked into the kitchen, there was nothing. No food, nothing. The stove was cold. The table was empty. His anger bubbled up like lava about to explode. He stormed into the bedroom where Lucia was still in bed, calm as anything, scrolling through her phone. "Lucia, where is my food? Have you lost your mind? Do you want to end up like..." Lucia slowly put down her phone. She looked up at him with a slight smile on her face. "Oh, Marcus, good morning. Did you need something?" Marcus's jaw dropped. Did she just speak to him like that? Casually, like he was nobody? "What kind of stupid question is that? Where is my breakfast?" Lucia yawned and stretched. "Oh, that. Well, I was tired this morning, so I decided to sleep in. If you're hungry, the kitchen is right there. You have 2 hands last time I checked. Use them." For a moment, Marcus just stood there, frozen in disbelief. Then his face turned purple with rage. You useless? I will teach you." He lunged toward her, his massive fist raised high. But Lucia was ready. In one lightning-fast movement, she rolled off the bed, grabbed his extended arm, and twisted it behind his back with shocking strength. Before Marcus knew what was happening, his face was pressed against the hardwood floor, his arm bent at a painful angle. "Let me go! Let me go, you crazy!" Marcus screamed, but he couldn't budge. Lucia's grip was like a steel vice. "Crazy!" Lucia's voice was calm, almost cheerful. "No, my dear husband, not crazy. Just a woman who knows Brazilian jiu-jitsu. You see, before I married you, I visited your city. I asked about your first wife, Grace. I heard everything. Every shove, every scream. How she died because of your abuse." Marcus's blood turned to ice. You knew?" "Oh yes, I knew everything. And I decided something. I decided that you needed to learn a lesson. So I married you. I pretended to be scared. I pretended to be weak. But I was just waiting for you to try your nonsense with me. She pressed his face harder against the floor. Now, let me tell you how things will work in this apartment from now on. You will cook. You will clean. You will do laundry. You will do the grocery shopping. And you will do everything I say when I say it. If you refuse, I will go to the police with evidence I've been collecting. I have recordings. I have witnesses. I have Grace's medical records that I tracked down. They will put you in prison, and you will have nothing. Nothing. You can't do this, Marcus gasped, his pride shattered more than his arm hurt. Oh, I can't, Lucia laughed and finally released him. Marcus scrambled away from her, panting, his entire world flipped upside down. From that day forward, everything changed in Marcus's apartment. That same morning, Marcus, with shaking hands, prepared breakfast for the first time in his adult life. He burned the eggs. The coffee was too bitter, but Lucia made him eat it himself and start over. By noon, word had somehow spread through the building like wildfire. People passing by Marcus's door could hear him vacuuming. Marcus, one of his buddies called through the door laughing. Yo, is that you running the vacuum like a housewife? Marcus's face burned with shame, but he didn't dare stop. Lucia was sitting right there on the couch, watching him like a hawk. Mind your business, Lucia called out sharply. My husband is helping out today. Is there a problem with a man doing housework? The friend quickly left, but the laughter echoed down the hallway. Over the next few weeks, Marcus tried several times to rebel. One morning he refused to do the dishes. I'm a man. Men don't do dishes. Lucia just smiled that calm smile. Oh, you're a man now? Is that the same man who terrorized a defenseless woman for 5 years? Is that the same man whose abuse drove his wife to suicide? That kind of man? Marcus's mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. Do the dishes, Lucia said softly, or I'll visit the police station this afternoon with everything I have. Marcus did the dishes. He did them every day after that. Another time he tried to grab her arm aggressively. Big mistake. Lucia didn't just defend herself, she actually flipped him over her shoulder and onto the floor so hard the downstairs neighbors banged on their ceiling. Then she stood over him calmly while he groaned in pain. Please, please, I'm sorry, Marcus wheezed. Sorry? You're sorry now? Where was this sorry when Grace was begging you? The neighbor across the hall, Mrs. Chen, peeked out and saw Marcus on the ground. Her eyes went wide, then she smiled and slowly closed her door. The next day, she'd tell everyone in the building. From that day on, Marcus gave up completely. He accepted his new reality. Every morning he woke up before Lucia to prepare her breakfast. He made sure the apartment was immaculate. He washed her clothes and ironed them perfectly. At meals he served her first and only ate after she was satisfied. The building watched in amazement. This was the same Marcus who used to strut around like a peacock. Now he walked with his head down, humble as a church mouse, carrying grocery bags and looking exhausted. The women in the building especially enjoyed this turn of events. They would gather at the mailboxes just to watch Marcus coming back from the laundromat, arms full of clean clothes. Marcus, how's married life treating you? They'd call out, giggling. Marcus would mumble something and walk faster. One day, Mrs. Rodriguez, the oldest resident in the building, came to visit Lucia. She found her relaxing on the balcony while Marcus mopped the floors. My dear, Mrs. Rodriguez said, settling into a chair beside Lucia. I've lived here for 30 years and I've never seen anything like this. How did you do it? Lucia smiled. Mrs. Rodriguez, it's simple. Bullies are cowards deep down. Marcus was only brave when facing people weaker than him. But when he met someone who could match his strength, he crumbled like stale bread. But aren't you afraid he'll snap one day and try to hurt you? Lucia shook her head. No, I broke something inside him that can never be repaired. His ego. And without his ego, Marcus is nothing. Besides, I remind him every day that I have evidence stored in multiple places. If anything happens to me, everything goes straight to the police. He knows that. Mrs. Rodriguez nodded approvingly. You're a brilliant woman. I wish someone had done this for Grace. That's exactly why I'm doing it now, Mrs. Rodriguez. For Grace. For every woman who suffered and had no one to protect her. Marcus will live the rest of his life knowing what it feels like to be powerless, to be afraid, to serve someone without question. It's only justice. As the months turned into years, Marcus transformed completely. His muscles softened from doing housework instead of going to the gym. His hands, once used for violence, became gentle from washing delicate fabrics. His voice, once loud and commanding, became quiet and meek. The young guys in the building would sometimes mess with him. Hey, Marcus, can you teach us how to be alpha males like you? Then they'd burst out laughing and walk away. But Marcus never responded. He'd learned his lesson. Too well, perhaps. One evening, as the sun set, Marcus was coming back from the grocery store with bags in both hands. He walked carefully, trying not to drop anything because Lucia had told him if he forgot anything on the list, he'd have to go back. He passed by the building's courtyard where he used to hang out with other men, drinking beer and bragging about how they handled their wives. Now those same men sat there watching him with amused grins. Yo, Marcus, come hang with us, one called out mockingly. He can't. His wife might ground him. Right, Marcus? They all burst out laughing. Marcus kept walking, his face hot with shame, but his mouth firmly shut. What could he say? It was all true. When he got home, Lucia was on the couch reading a book. She looked up as he entered. You're back. Good. Put those away, then start on dinner. I'm craving pasta tonight. Yes, dear, Marcus said quietly and went to do as he was told. Lucia watched him shuffle into the kitchen. She felt a small twinge of something, not quite pity, but close. Marcus looked so defeated, so broken. Had she gone too far? But then she remembered Grace. Sweet, intelligent Grace who had never harmed anyone in her life. Grace who died with bruises on her body and terror in her heart. Grace who never got justice. No, Lucia decided. She had not gone too far. If anything, Marcus was getting exactly what he deserved. He was alive, wasn't he? He was healthy. He just had to work hard and follow rules. That's all. Nothing he hadn't forced Grace to endure. Except Lucia had added one crucial thing. She never actually hurt him. She never beat him. She never truly harmed him physically. She just made him understand what it felt like to be powerless. Years passed. Marcus became known throughout the neighborhood as that guy whose wife runs everything. People from other parts of the city would hear the story, and some would even come by just to see if it was true. And there he'd be, Marcus, the obedient husband, hanging laundry on the balcony or meal prepping for the week. The story spread far and wide. In other neighborhoods, mothers would tell their daughters, "Be like Lucia. Never let any man think he can mistreat you." And they'd tell their sons, "Treat women with respect, or you might end up like Marcus." As for Lucia, she lived peacefully. She never had to use her jiu-jitsu skills again after that first day. The threat was enough. She started a successful online business and became quite prosperous. Marcus, of course, did all the housework so she could focus on growing her company. Sometimes, late at night when the apartment was quiet, Marcus would lie on his mat in the spare room. Yes, Lucia had the master bedroom to herself, and wonder how his life had come to this. He who used to be feared was now a punchline. He who used to be served now served, all because he had thought himself superior. All because he had believed that power gave him the right to hurt others. If he could go back in time, would he change? Would he treat Grace better? The truth is, we'll never know because Marcus never spoke about it. He just continued his days, cooking, cleaning, obeying. A living example of what happens when a bully finally meets their match. And Lucia? She would sometimes visit Grace's grave and place flowers there. "I did it, sister," she would whisper. "I made him pay. Rest peacefully." The building residents who had once ignored Grace's suffering now looked at Lucia with a mixture of awe and respect. She had done what they failed to do. She had brought justice even if it came late. So remember this story. Remember Marcus, who wanted a submissive wife but married his match instead. Remember that strength isn't about who can hit harder, but about who stands up when everyone else stays silent. Remember that pride comes before a fall. And sometimes that fall is straight into a sink full of dirty dishes. And if you ever meet someone like Marcus, someone who thinks power means controlling others through fear, just smile and tell them this story. Tell them about the man who thought he was a lion but turned out to be just an overgrown house cat. If you enjoyed this story, hit that subscribe button before Lucia catches you slacking and assigns you housework too.